The Foreman Certificate of Competency Examination restricted under the Metalliferous Mines Regulation 1961 was held on 28th of January 2019. The candidates who have qualified for the Foreman's oral examination, they will be appearing in the oral examination on 8th and 9th May 2019 at Nagpur. As you know, in the Foreman restricted written examination, there were 6 questions and the students were required to answer any 4 questions. It is our experience that during the oral, most of the examiners do ask the candidate which of the questions you opted out. Now, he will again ask you the reason why you opted out. You will say that I was not very much sure about it, or I was more sure about the other questions. He will say, fine. Did you check the answers for these questions after going home? That will be the statement from the examiner. Now here you need to be prepared with answers for all the 6 questions. So in this video lecture, we will be discussing on the expected answers for the written examination which was held on 28th of January 2019. The examination is known as Foreman's Restricted Examination 2018. Now the question number 1 was, what are the causes of accidents in mechanized open cast mines working with default blasting? Also suggest the remedial measures to prevent such accidents. Now in these questions there are 2 parts. The first part of the question is causes of accidents in mechanized open cast mines working with default blasting, and the second part is suggest the remedial measures to prevent such accidents. As you know, the Foreman restricted examination or any examination conducted by the Board of Mining Examination is basically for ensuring the competence of the candidate from safety of workers point of view, safety of the mines point of view. Now from the point of view of safety of an open cast working, and as far as a foreman is concerned, the causes of accidents in open cast mines with default blasting, the candidate is expected to know the reasons behind. And in the second part, they want you to answer the or suggest the remedial measures to prevent such accidents. Now analysis, you can start it this way. The answer can be started this way, that analysis of accidents that occurred in the recent past in Indian open cast mines, it has revealed that following are the reasons for most of the accidents in open cast mines. So that way you can start. Now it is very important to start your answer with during operation of dumpers and trucks, because if you go through the accident analysis that is circulated by DGMS in their standard note, annually DGMS issues or circulates a standard note, and now they have become digital, so all the accident statistics, monthly accident statistics is available on the website dgms.gov.in. so if you go through the accident analysis, you will find that there is major contribution of trucks and dumpers or transportation machinery in the accidents that take place in Indian open cast mines, whether it is coal or metal. So when we are answering this question, what are the causes of accidents in open cast mines with default blasting, so we can give the heading, points must be written and those points are to be expected to be elaborated. Now first point, let us say during operation of dumpers and trucks. So what can be the reasons? The reason could be head on or head to tail collision, that is one of the reasons. Then fall of dumpers or trucks from higher bench to lower bench, that could be another reason. Then steering failure or brake failure is also a reason for accidents in during the operation of trucks and dumpers. Then fires in dumpers and trucks. Then bursting of tire while the dumper or truck is in motion, or in many cases while removing or fitting the tire of the dumper or truck, accidents do take place. Then another reason can be violation of traffic rules, non-framing of code of practice, or if the code of even if the code of practice is framed, not following the code of practice, and it could result in an accident. So this way you can give headings, and those headings, depending on the time you have, you can explain it in 1 or 2 lines. Then second heading could be other machinery. We are now discussing about the causes of accidents in open cast mines. So first was during the operation of trucks and dumpers. The second one is other machinery, because other machinery other than dumper and truck, they are also very much used in open cast mines, and there is every possibility of an accident during the operation of these machinery. So what could be the reason? First you should write negligent or unauthorized driving, or second is many of the accidents have taken place while carrying unauthorized persons in their vehicles. So that is also one of the reasons. Then if the operator is not properly trained, if the untrained operator is operating the machinery, then accident may take place. Then another reason is defective design of the machinery. It could also lead to accident. Safety features, as you know, there are 20 features to be provided on a dumper and trucks. Then there are 6 safety features to be provided on excavators. Then there are more than 30 safety features to be provided on drills, etc. So if the safety features are not provided, that can also result in an accident. Then there are moving parts in machinery, fan blades are there and other rotating parts are also there. So if these rotating parts are not properly guarded against or fenced, so the person who are passing nearby, there is every likelihood of getting their clothes, either clothes getting entangled and their meeting with an accident. Then poor maintenance of machine, because the machine could be in a very good condition when it was supplied to the mines, but during the course of time, the regular maintenance is very very important. So if the maintenance of the machine is poor, it can also result in an accident. Then in machinery, this much you can cover. Then second reason you can give very much due to the side falls. In open cast mines, you know, it is the sides that fall and that cause the accident, because in underground mines, as it is the roof fall, in open cast mines it is the side fall. So side fall is also one of the causes of the accidents and contributing causes. Now why this side fall occurs? So you can elaborate it. It could be excess height of the benches. As you know, we have a restriction of bench height. So if the height is more, the stability of the bench is endangered. Then it could be creation of high walls. At times there are very high walls created in any mine, maybe due to whatever the local conditions are there, or their local constraints are there. But these high walls do result in the instability of the sides and falling of the sides. Then it could be undercutting causing overhangs. That is also one of the reasons when accidents do take place. Then working near geological disturbances. Now you know, in many of the mines there are faults or there are folds and other geological discontinuities could be encountered. If near and around these geological disturbances, if proper care is not taken, then it could again result in the instability of the sides and the sides could fall. So you can include that also as one of the reasons. Then another thing is, every day we are undertaking blasting. So after blasting, the inspection of the sites is very very important. The dressing of the sites is very very important. So if the sites are not properly inspected, even at the beginning of the shift, if the sites are not properly inspected, so you could miss any cracks or any loose portion that could be there, and that could result in the side fall. So that can also be taken as one of the causes. Or not carrying out dressing of the sides regularly. The dressing of the sides cannot be done only once, because it depends on the strata which is available there. It depends on the weather conditions. So if it is rainy season, then you need to be very very careful. There could be some weathering, there could be some loosening due to the rains and all, that's rainwater, etc. So that is to be regularly dressed, so that you can write. Then another major causes of accident you should include is dump failure, because many of the accidents have taken place due to dump failures. And very recently in the year 2016, there was a huge dump slide in one of the coal mines, Rajmahal coal mines of eastern coalfields, and as many as 7 excavators and 35 trucks have been buried under it. So far as they say, 18 dead bodies have been recovered, but other details are yet to be are awaited. So this way, dump failures are also one of the major causes of accidents in open cast mines. So you should give that heading also. Now under that headings, what you can include is, it could be due to incorrect size of the dumps. It could be incorrect geometry of the dumps, because for the stability of any dump, the geometry, the shape of the dumps is very very important. If the height is excessive, then the stability of the dump is endangered. Then location of dump is another important criteria that you can give as a subheading. So this location of the dumps, the geometry of the dumps, the height of the dumps, and overall things related to the dumping of waste material need to be arrived at through a scientific study of the location, scientific study of the waste material, physical chemical properties of the waste material being dumped. So all these things are to be covered in that, so that you can write into it that if scientific study has not been done while deciding the location of the dumps, it could very much result in an dump failure accident. Then another important area and another important precaution for the stability of dumped material is during the monsoon. Every dump, there must be provision of cross drains, there must be provision of garland drains around the dumps. Otherwise the dumped material is very much likely to slide due to heavy rainfall or due to rains. So non provision of cross drains or garland drains in and around the dump could also result in an accident, that you can include in that. Then non availability of instrumentation for monitoring of dump slope, this is also very important. So you can impress the examiner by saying that you know about the slope stability radar. So slope stability radar not provided, so that could be one of the reasons of the dump failure. We could not notice the changes that are taking place in a dump, and suddenly the dump collapses. So that way you can include that. Then the next reason for accidents in open cast mines can be accidents due to explosives. Explosives also regularly used in mines, and explosives is also one of the major hazards that could result in accident in open cast mine. So what could be the accidents that can be caused due to use of explosives? It could be fly rock. The fly rocks may project beyond the danger zone of 500 meters, or even within the danger zone of 500 meters there could be fly rocks. So that could be an accident, cause of accident. Then another cause of accident, you can say that non-posting of guards during blasting. So during blasting, if there is a public road passing through the mine area or passing through the danger zone, then the DGMS gives in his permission, when the written permission is obtained from DGMS. So there is always a mention that you have to post 2 guards on both the ends of the public road, and no traffic, no movement is to be allowed at the time of blasting. So if the guards were not posted, then it could also result in inadvertent entry into the danger zone of any person, and he could be hit. Then another reason for accidents due to explosives could be not taking proper shelter even after hearing the warning. At times there are some people, even if the hooter has been warning signal has been sounded, still the people do not take adequate precautions and do not take shelter where they are expected to take shelter, and they may be hit by the projectiles and it could result in an accident. Then another thing is muffle blasting not done, because you must do blasting in such a way that no projectiles fly beyond a distance of 10 meters. So muffling could be done. You can put sandbags on each of the holes, and all that way you can restrict the fly rocks. So if that is not done, the proper care is not taken, then accident can result from that. Then at times accidents have taken place due to the people had taken shelter somewhere within the danger zone, but that shelter itself was not adequate, was not strong enough. The shelter itself was not strong enough, the roof was not strong enough, and when a fly rock stone hit it or fell on it, so it gave way, and the persons taking shelter under it, they were seriously injured. So this could also be one of the accidents. Then another reason, another causes of accident you can take as due to fire. Fires do take place in open cast mine, so that could be one of the reasons. Now why fires take place, or why the fire could not be controlled? It could be due to inadequate provision of water or other fire extinguishers at the mine to deal with the fire, because as you know, if the fire is controlled very much at the start itself, then it is controllable. Otherwise, if it spreads like anything, then it is very difficult to contain any fire. So that could be reason. Then unsafe storage of inflammable material. As you know, any inflammable material must be stored properly in a proper container and away from any source of sparking or light and all that. So if that care is not taken, then fire could result from such things. Then shortage of manpower. to deal with fire. That's why the fire could not be controlled at the start itself. So that can also be one of the causes. So that you can include. Then no system of proper and periodical training in firefighting. Each and every person working in a mine must be given training in firefighting, because firefighting is such a thing. The person who sees it at the first instance, it is his duty to take action to suppress the fire, to quench the fire. So that is one. So he must be trained for that. So then only we can control the fire. So if there is no proper training arrangement, training system, so it can also be it can also result in not having proper persons to deal with fire. Then not providing AFDSS on HEM. You know, AFDSS is automatic fire detection and suppression system. Now it is mandatory, it is compulsory to be provided on all HEMM. All HEMM should be provided with automatic fire detection and suppression system. If that is not provided, then because the engine gets hot, and the hot parts, they come into contact with the oil, diesel and lubricant and all that, and the HEMM catches fire. So these incidents have taken place. So that's why we can include this also as a reason. Then another major hazard in open cast mines is inundation. So you must put inundation also in the list. Under the heading of inundation, you can elaborate why the accident due to inundation takes place. Why inundation takes place in open cast mine? Could be non availability of some, or the some capacity is inadequate, that's why the mine got inundated. Or there could be inadequate pumping arrangement, the inflow of water is much more than the capacity to pump out the water, so that could also result in inundation. Then non-provision of proper drains is one of the reasons for inundating the open cast mines. Then another major reasons, because at times there are some of the mines, particularly some limestone mines are there, which are located at such a place that the water dam is very near to it. And if during the monsoon the dam gates are opened due to the excessive storage of water and for safety, and if there is no proper communication, there is no liaison or proper coordination with the local dam or irrigation authority and the mine management, so the mine could be inundated due to the excess supply of water from the nearby dam or like that. Then another reason for inundation in open cast mines could be no monsoon preparatory arrangement. You see, monsoon preparatory arrangement must be done at least 1 month before. We should be ready for the monsoon or for the heavy rainfall, whichever comes there, and all the garland drains, all the size of the drains should be verified. Then pumps and sumps and additional pumping arrangement, manpower, all these things need to be done in advance. So if that is not done, if the advanced preparation and advanced arrangement for dealing with monsoon water is not there, then it could result in inundation of the mines. Now see, now these are some of the causes of the accidents for open cast mines which we have taken. Now in the second part, they have asked in the question number 1, what precautions will you take to prevent such accidents? Now if you very elaborately and systematically answer the first part, giving the headings and bullets, then to deal with those bullets, it will be very easier for you to answer the second part of the question. Now for example, you should start in the preventive measures. You must mention about safety audit to impress the examiner that you know about safety audit. So conducting safety audit of the mine by a team of experts comprising of mining, mechanical, electrical discipline, and implementing the suggestions given by the audit team. This you can mention, because safety audit and implementing the suggestion is definitely a preventive measure to do away with any possibility of accident. Then framing of emergency action plan and mock rehearsal, these are also the preventive measures. And because mock rehearsals are very much necessary, so that any small incidents may not result in a big accident or big mishap or disaster. So that's why you should mention about that also. Then cleaning of, as far as inundation is concerned, cleaning of sumps, drains and maintenance of pumps much before monsoon, advanced preparations for all these. So you will take care of the inundation, then providing float alarm and posting of guards along adjacent water course if any. In some of the mines there could be an adjacent water course where if the level rises the water is likely to enter the mines. So in such cases we need to withdraw the men, we need to withdraw the equipment. So for all these things we have a warning level, we have a danger level, we have a withdrawal level, and all those things are there. So there should be a float alarm. So these are all the preventive measures. Then proper training of the HEMM operators at regular interval. So if the trained operator is there, then we can expect smooth and safe operation of any machinery. Then framing of code of practice for each and every equipment and operation that is being conducted in a mine. So that is also a preventive measure. Then creating awareness by way of poster, slogan at conspicuous places. So that should also be one of the measures. Then regular conducting of safety committee meetings. Safety committee is constituted in mines and it is expected to meet once at least in every 30 days. So these meetings should be regular, and the safety committee members, they should be imparted at least 7 days training as recommended by the National Safety Conference. So if the safety committee members are well trained and if they are aware what their duty as a member of the safety committee is there, so you can have a very effective safety committee at the mine. So you can mention about that also. Then as far as operation of dumpers and trucks is concerned, you should mention to prevent accidents you should have one-way traffic throughout the mine. So that could also be one. Then width of haul road, as you know, width of haul road to be at least 3 times the widest machine plying on the haul road plus 5 meters. So that you should mention. Then gradient of haul road at no place should exceed 1 in 16. So that way we can expect smooth transportation at the mine. Then strict observance of traffic rules. As you know, there are traffic rules, there are 9 traffic rules. It is the recommendation of the 7th Safety Conference. Manager of every mine has to frame and implement traffic rules. So you should mention about that. Traffic rules to be framed and traffic rules to be strictly observed. Then as far as pit slope stability is concerned, you should mention that height of the benches to be commensurate with the reach of the bucket of the excavator and geomining conditions. Whatever the local geomining conditions are there, those are to be considered, and height of the bench is to be accordingly decided. That too is to be decided after scientific study only, and that height, maximum height, is to be a restriction of the maximum height to be adhered to. Then you can mention about lighting, because many of the accidents are taking place in second shift and third shift. So standard of lighting in any open cast mines shall be according to, as you know, very recently circular was issued by DGMS, circular number 3 of 2017, wherein they have mentioned the standard of lighting to be maintained, to be provided in open cast metalliferous mines. So standard of lighting should be according to this. So it is almost 15 lux horizontal, 25 lux vertical, that sort of things they have mentioned. So this way, if you cover the various areas, the examiner, one who is checking your answer sheet, he will be of the impression, or he will gain the impression that you have thoroughly studied the things and you are a person who are working practically in the field and you have enough idea of what are the reasons that cause the accident. So we have mentioned about the accidents also and the preventive measures also. Now all the workers, then lastly you can mention this also, all the workers should be provided with required personal protective equipment and fluorescent jackets that you can mention, or uniform with fluorescent bands. Nowadays many mines are supplying uniform wherein there is a fluorescent band also. So that way you can complete your answer. So first part you mentioned about the reasons for accident that takes place in open cast mines, and in the second part we covered what are the preventive measures for these accidents. So this way the 12.5 marks were there for that question. So I think this way it will be satisfactory answer. Now let us come to question number 2. The question number 2, again very important topic. It is the topic related to the occupational health of persons employed in mines. So the question was, what are the common dust related miners diseases and how are they caused and detected, and what precautions do you suggest to ensure that work persons do not contact these diseases. So this was a question number 2, very elaborate. Now if you see it, categorize it, you can convert the question, single question, into 4 parts. The first part is, what are the common dust related diseases in mines? Then second part is, what causes these diseases? Third part is, how are these diseases detected? And fourth part is, precautions to protect workers from these diseases. So your answer should be with these headings. The first heading should be, what are the common dust related diseases in mine? So you can mention that there are 8 notified diseases, and out of these 8 notified diseases, there are 5 notified diseases that are related to dust, to which the miners working in the Indian mines are exposed to. Now it is, pneumoconiosis, or to be precise enough, it is coal miners pneumoconiosis. The coal miners are at a high risk of the disease, so this is one of the disease you can mention. Then second disease you need to mention is silicosis. This disease is caused due to lung fibrosis resulting from inhalation of silica dust. Fibrosis means, as you know, when we inhale, our chest expands, and when we exhale, our chest contracts. You must have seen that during the initial medical examination, we are required to inflate our chest by inhaling in. So they want to see how much is the flexibility of his lungs. So this flexibility of the lungs is reduced, and that is termed as fibrosis. So the silica dust causes this to happen. So silicosis is the disease that is caused due to lung fibrosis resulting from inhalation of silica dust. So this way you can mention about the silicosis. The third disease, dust related disease, is asbestosis. Extremely harmful and extremely dangerous disease. This disease is caused due to inhalation of asbestos dust fibers. So this is, and the persons working in asbestos mines are mostly affected by asbestosis. Then it is manganese poisoning. It is termed as manganese poisoning nervous type. This is another notified disease. So this disease is caused due to inhalation or swallowing of manganese dust that affects the nervous system of the persons employed in mines. So this is the next disease. Then the fifth disease is cancer of lungs or stomach. This disease affects the persons who work in asbestosis or chromite mines. So the carcinogenic dust, it has a pathological manifestation, and it is a cancer only, cancer of lungs or stomach. So these are the 5 diseases, dust related diseases. So this way we have covered the first part of the question. Now the second part was, how are these diseases detected? So the one of the important means of detecting this disease is the chest x-ray. As you know, in the IME and PME, chest x-ray is very important. Now you must have seen, or you must have read in the 10 safety conference recommendations, the chest x-ray should be 300 milliampere. So it is one of the units, so it should be a larger one. So 300 MA chest x-rays must be taken during the initial medical examination as well as during the periodical medical examination. So chest x-ray is one of the means to detect any lung infection due to the dust. So the fibrosis is shown by dark shadows. So those dark shadows are reflected in the x-ray film of the person who has undergone the x-ray. Then second method of detecting the lung diseases is lung function test. Whether the lung function ability to inhale and exhale the air has reduced, or what is the vitality of the lung, functioning of the lung. So that is known as LFT or lung function test. Then third is bronchoscopy. Bronchoscopy is just like endoscopy. A camera is inserted in the airway and inside images are recorded. Then the fourth method is blood test. Certain dust related diseases are detected by the amount of CO2 and O2 saturation in the blood. So that way the prevalence of disease can be detected. Then it is CT scan, computer tomography we call it. It is also one of the ways to detect any dust related diseases inside the person's body. Now the second part of the question is how to protect the workers from these diseases. Now, strict observance of statutory provisions. This is one of the main things which we need to mention in our answer. Now, what are the statutory provisions? The statutory provisions are 8 hours time weighted average concentration of dust not to exceed 5 milligram per cubic meter of air in case of manganese mines, and in other cases the figure is arrived at by dividing the figure of 15 by percentage of free silica in the dust samples. So we need to mention this. These are the permissible limits. Then in case of respirable asbestos fiber, it should not exceed 1 fiber per milliliter of air. Then conducting dust survey once, at least once every month. That is the one of the measures to prevent such diseases, and to know and to verify the atmosphere in the mines, whether it is dust laden or it is free from any harmful dust. Then dust survey should also be done whenever any new plant, equipment or machinery is introduced in the mine, and which is likely to have a significant impact on the generation of airborne dust. Then whenever maximum permissible limit of dust concentration is exceeded, the regional inspector should be informed and steps should be taken to bring down the percentage below the permissible limit. Then if five samples in 7 shifts indicate that the permissible limit has been exceeded, then the operation must be stopped. The operation should cease. So these are the statutory provisions which need to be adopted. Then next is, dust shall be suppressed at the source. Use of drill bits for this purpose, because drilling is the operation wherein maximum dust is produced, and maximum dust may get airborne. So use of sharp bits, good shape of the sharpness and good shape of the bits. Then jet of water of adequate pressure should be continuously aimed at the cutting edge of the drilling bit. Then use of water or other dust preventive measures during the operation of crushing, breaking, dressing, sorting, grinding of mineral. All these are operations wherein more and more dust is likely to be generated. Then the dust prevention apparatus, it should be inspected at least once every week and be thoroughly examined and tested at least once every month by a competent person. Then providing special protective clothing and impermeable bags, vacuum cleaners in asbestos mines and plants. So this way you can mention about the preventive measures which we will take in case of dust. Now the question number 3. Question number 3 was regarding discuss precautions to be taken while working near mine boundaries. Now in this case you should write the statutory provisions. You must mention that no work within 7.5 meter of the boundary of the mine, and in case of disputed boundary, no work within 7.5 meter of the boundary as claimed by the adjacent owner. This you need to mention that this has been given in the metal ferrous mines regulation. Then one more thing you can add in that, special permission can be obtained from DGMS in case of common boundary, because in some of the mines, for example in case of chromite, the ore body is continuous and the entire ore length of the ore body is worked by different companies, so they do share common boundaries. So in such cases some of the mines have sought permission, and DGMS has given permission for common boundary working. They are even mining the ore which is there in the common boundary, and also they are dumping the waste rock in along the common boundary. So that way they have taken permission. So you can mention about that the special permission can be obtained from DGMS in case of common boundary. Now in this case, care has to be taken so that the workings of the adjacent owner or adjacent mine are not affected by the workings of the another mine. Then no work should be done when in case of now dumping, common boundary dumping permission has been taken. In that case, no work should be done in a distance which is equivalent to two times the maximum height of the dump. As you are seeing in the figure, it will be clear that if a meter is the height of the dump, then 2 times a, there should not be any work, because as you know, if we do the dumping and if some persons are there at the bottom of the dump, the rolling stones may hit them. So that's why this precaution is needed to be taken. Now if mining is being done in common boundary, then there is a condition that DGMS imposes. That condition is benching to be done simultaneously, and difference between the deepest point of adjacent mine to be not more than 2 benches. So this is also again clear from the picture. As you are seeing, the common boundary is shown, and on the right hand side of the screen it is mine A, left hand side it is the mine B. So mine B is shown deeper than mine A, but the depth should not be more than 2 benches. So that is one of the then additional precautions need to be taken during monsoon. So this way you can write it, because it is a short note. So the number of marks allocated is around 4 marks. So at least you can write this much. Then the B part of the statutory provisions was before closing of an open cast mine. Now this is also one of the important areas wherein the examiner wants to know whether the provisions related to closure of a mine are known to the candidate or not. Now you are aware that under the MMR, the owner agent manager has to give a notice to the chief inspector at least 30 days before the intended closure of the mine. Then the chief inspector may issue orders to undertake some of the protective works to be done before the closure of the mine, and he will give a time frame. So those protective works are to be completed, that you can mention. Then fencing the entire area to prevent inadvertent entry into the closed mine. This is one more precaution which we should mention. Then the voids that are created due to mining, they should be filled and leveled. So these are the precautions which need to be taken before the closure of the mine. Then if water storage is there or sump has been created for irrigation purpose or for any other purpose, that sort of, then proper fencing to be erected to prevent inadvertent entry and drowning of the villagers. So that care has also to be taken before closure of the mine. Then another important precaution is plantation on the top of the OB, because OB waste rock has already been dumped over there. So there is every possibility of the sliding of the dump getting unstable. So the stability of the dump needs to be improved by way of plantation on the top of the. Then cross drains are must. Cross drains and garland drains around the dump, they are also to be dug. Then all machinery and equipment to be removed to obviate entry of any person with the intention of theft. So that is also owner agent manager's responsibility to ensure that no machine is left over there, so that no person enters the mine with the intention of theft and all that. So, and lastly, one important thing before the closure of the mine is the ground profile to be brought back to the original level as far as possible, and if not, it should be similar to that level, as near to it as possible. So this way you can mention about the precautions to be taken during the closure of any mine. Then in the C part, they are given while working near overhead power lines. Many times accidents have taken place while working near the overhead line. So you can start the precautions like this. You can say undertake proper assessment of risk assessment should be done before undertaking any work near overhead power lines. Then we must prepare safe operating procedures and train the concerned workmen in the implementation of the SOP whenever work is required to be done near overhead power lines. Then we should avoid work near energized overhead lines. The electrical supply should be cut before commencing any work near the overhead power line. Then if at times there are some situations frequently work is to be carried out near any overhead line, so in that case you can mention, if work is to be undertaken frequently near any overhead line, then it is advisable to divert the overhead power line. Then safe distance should be mentioned. At least 3 meters safe distance should be maintained between the conductor. Then bucket of the machine which you are going to use near the overhead conductor, so if it is advisable to insulate it with a non-conductive shock-proof material, so that in case of accidental contact with the conductor, the operator will not have a electric shock. Then safety distance should be provided with a barricade or a fencing to prevent inadvertent entry. A fencing should be erected so that the driver is warned that now he is not supposed to enter beyond this area because it is a safe distance. Then the boom movement, it can be control the movement of the boom of the bucket by providing mechanical interlock chain or limit switch, etc. So that way you can take safety precaution. Then proximity warning device should be provided on the machine to warn the operator that he is nearing the conductor or nearing the pole. Warning notices should be posted near all overhead lines for cautioning the operator to keep away from any overhead line. Then at least 6-meter distance should be maintained between any machine and the overhead line, and a board, caution board, warning board mentioning this precaution should be displayed at conspicuous places. And while working near any overhead line, all the persons must use insulated rubber gloves. So this way you can complete the question number 3, because since it was a short note sort of thing, so we have very briefly tried to answer it. Now we come to the question number 4. Question number 4 is regarding what is the importance of code of practice in a mine, and write code of practice for shovel operation in an open cast mine. As you are seeing, again it has 2 parts. The first part is regarding the importance of code of practice in a mine, and the second part is write the code of practice for shovel operation in an open cast mine. Now while mentioning about the importance of COP, you can start it like this, that if necessary precautions are taken, safety and production can go hand in hand, and documentation of the safe work procedure or code of practice is required. So this is the documentation will very much help in conducting any work very safely. Then you can also mention with the passage of time and due to same work being done for so many months or years, and no accidents, even when some shortcut was adopted, so chances of forgetting the safe work procedure methodology is also there. So that's why the displayed board of COP reminds the operator about the safe work procedures. Then you can also mention specific COP is framed for each equipment or operation, hence the risks at every step is covered in the documentation. Then COP takes into account the size, type, capacity of the machinery and also the local condition. Then COP covers the operation of the machinery or activity from beginning of the shift till the end of the shift. So that way all the steps that are involved in any operation or in any activity are covered, and how to do that safely, that is mentioned in the COP. Then there is a code of practice for the first use of machinery, for after relocation of the machinery. Then if any modification is done, then also we have a separate code of practice. Then we have a code of practice for maintenance, code of practice for inspection, code of practice for examination of machinery. So each and every activity where there is any hazard or any risk of any accident, so code of practice can be framed. And code of practice also mentions the interval of examination and inspection of the machinery. Then so this way you can mention about the what is the importance of code of practice. And then in the second part is frame a code of practice for operation of shovel in an open cast mine. So in this case, always remember, when we frame a code of practice for any particular mine, so you must have read it, the code of practice, the wording starts with this COP is applicable to operation of this make shovels in ABC open cast mine, because we need to frame code of practice for each and every machinery and each and every operation. So different types of machinery, for different types of machinery there could be a different set of code of practices, may be similar but it has to be different. So that way we should mention this code of practice relates to what operation or what machine. Then in the code of practice, as we have already mentioned in the importance of the code of practice, that code of practice covers the entire step of operations involved in that particular machinery, equipment or operation. So before starting the shovel, the operator shall walk around the shovel to check what? Check the following: any leakage from high pressure hoses, hydraulic cylinder seal, engine or drive case, then water leakage in the radiator circuit, whether idler mounting bolt, track shoe bolt, radiator cap and all oil caps, whether they are tight or not. Then dials for of the fire extinguishers, you know, the dial shows red color and green color. If it is in the red, then it needs to be replaced with the content of the fire extinguisher. So that way the dial of the fire extinguisher is to be checked. Then AFDSS, automatic fire detection and suppression system, the indicator lights are to be checked, and all these checks are to be done before starting the engine. Then in the COP, the next part will be after starting the engine. After starting the engine, what the operator is expected to do? Check all the oil pressure gauges, check leakage on diesel, oil or water. This is again to be done after starting the engine. Then before moving the shovel, when he is going to move the shovel, he shall sound a warning horn and ensure. If he is going to reverse, then before reversing he shall ensure, or if he is going to have a swing, then before swinging he shall ensure that no person or vehicle is within its range. Then he shall not allow unnecessary movement of persons in and around the shovel. Now during operation of the shovel, the code of practice shall read: not to swing the bucket over any person or machine. Then ensure that an all clear signal has been given by the blaster, and only after confirmation take the shovel to the face. And another point in the code of practice will be: in no case the shovel should be tilted more than 35° on right, left or back. Not to operate the shovel near overhang or undercut. Neither the bucket nor any dumper should be overloaded. These are the precautions to be mentioned in the COP regarding operation of the shovel. Then comes the parking part. So during parking, the code of practice shall read like this: not to park the shovel anywhere other than the parking bay or designated parking place. Not to park the shovel on slopes, and rest the bucket on floor when shovel is being parked. So what we have covered in this code of practice, we have covered what is to be done before starting the engine, what is to be done after starting the engine, what is to be done when the shovel is being moved, what is to be done before engaging the shovel into the face, what is to be done before parking the shovel. So thus the entire operations of the shovel are activities related to operation of the shovel are covered. And lastly, the COP shall be signed by the mine manager, ABC mine. So this way you can write about the you can say model COP for operation of shovel in a mine. Then the question number 5. Question number 5 was also related to one very important topic nowadays, and it was adequate general lighting. What do you understand by adequate general lighting? What are the standards of lighting prescribed for open cast mine being worked by deployment of heavy earth moving machinery? Again, here also question number 5 has two parts. The first part is what is adequate general lighting, and the second part is regarding standard of lighting for open cast mine being worked by HEMM. Now you know that the circular number 3 of 2017 was issued regarding the lighting standards in open cast multiferrous mines. There are 20 points. So you should be able to reproduce, or you should be able to write in your answer at least those related to the mine. So there could be about 10 points which are related to the mines. So in your answer, the standard of lighting in the mines, you must be able to give the exact figures in lux. Then adequate general lighting. So he had asked, what do you understand by adequate general lighting? What is adequate general? Such a lighting system which will be beneficial to those workers who work in mines after daylight hours. This way you can start. Then wherever natural light is insufficient and work is continued beyond daylight hours, adequate general lighting is provided by means of artificial lighting. This way you can describe about the artificial lighting or general lighting. Then such locations, what are such locations? Such locations where artificial lighting is required could be the placement of bucket at the face, then illuminating the high wall and the OB benches, then illuminating the ore stockpile and the material that is being loaded, then illuminating the area of dumper movement in the dump yard and the stockyard, illuminating the blade during cutting and ripping operation, illuminating the cabin of HEMM and walkway in the HEMM, area of the drilling rig during inspection and maintenance of HEMM. You need artificial lighting. So these are the areas where we need to provide artificial lighting. Now, what do you understand by adequate general lighting? Adequate general lighting can be described as lighting system that ensures adequate lighting for every person irrespective of his position at the working place. Means you need to ensure that each and every person who is in the workplace should have adequate lighting, so that he will be able to foresee, he will be able to see any danger very clearly. Then second condition for general lighting is it should have the fixture should have a correct height and appropriate interval between the two lighting poles. Then the light which is being spread over, it should be uniform all along the working place. It should not be such that at a particular place it is very much illumined and at other place it is very scarce, the light is scarce. So that way it is not supposed to be a adequate general lighting and all that. Then lighting system should avoid shadows or glare also. Shadows should not be there. Similarly, there should not be glare also. Then the lamps should be connected to a source of power which will be uninterrupted and consistent. That is one of the conditions of adequate general lighting. Now the second part of the question was regarding the standard of lighting for open cast mine. Now the DGMS circular 2017 and GSR 618E, it prescribes the revised standards of lighting for metalliferous open cast mine. So you should at least be able to write in the examination the workplace of HEMM, 15 horizontal, 25 vertical. Then area where drilling rigs work, the illumination should be vertical, 25 lux. Then the places where manual work is being done, 15 horizontal, 25 vertical. Loading, unloading points, transfer points, dumper loading points, train loading, here the standard is 15 horizontal and 15 vertical. Operator's cabin, it should be 50 horizontal. Haul road, 10 horizontal. Roadways and footpaths from bench to bench, if they are provided, then the illumination standard should be 10 lux horizontal. Permanent paths of use for persons, if they are being used, then again it should be 10 horizontal. In pit crusher, at times in some of the mines there is in pit crushing. So in the in pit crusher, the illumination standard should be at least 40 lux and horizontal naturally. Hand picking points, if there are hand picking points for sorting of ore and segregating the ore and rock, then the illumination standard should be at least 50 lux horizontal. Conveyor transfer points, 40 lux horizontal, and all along the conveyor the illumination should be at least 20 lux horizontal. So this way you should be able to reproduce at least the illumination standards related to the mine, related to the pit. Then we come to the next question, that is question number 6. This was the last question. It was write short notes on provisions regarding any three, but we will be considering all the four. The first one was duties and responsibilities of blasters. Now why this question was asked? Because in open cast metalliferous mines where deep hole blasting is practiced, the blaster is supposed to be a holder of at least foreman certificate, that you know. So duties and responsibilities of blaster, he must be knowing, one who is appearing in the foreman certificate of competency examination. So how you can write it? Blaster shall carry out the duties in accordance with the statutory provisions related to transport and use of explosives in mines. Then he shall also ensure that his assistants, if any assistants have been given, they are also observing all the orders that are being issued by the superior officials related to to safety of the mines. Then he shall not hand over explosives to any unauthorized person. Then he shall ensure that the sand or any other stemming material, whatever stemming material is being used, so sufficient supply of stemming material is readily available at convenient places. Then charging and stemming of the shot holes shall be done in his presence and shall himself fire the shots. This is his duty, and in the event of misfire he shall be responsible for adequately fencing the area and shall deal with the misfire according to the statutory provisions, whatever the statutory provisions are there. Now his duties at the end of shift, they too need to be mentioned. He shall return the unused explosives to the magazine or other designated place. Means it could be that ANFO is being used or any other such explosive is being used, and they are having a different shade for that. So at that designated place, the blaster shall return all the unused explosives. Then at the end of shift, what he will do? He will maintain a bound page register. In that bound page register, what a blaster is expected to record: the quantity of explosives that have been issued, then quantity of explosives that has been used, then quantity of explosives that has been returned to the magazine, and the details of the quantity of explosives used in various places, and he shall sign the report. So this way you can write about the duties, and it is a short note, and about 4 marks question is there, so this much should be sufficient. The second short note was related to welfare officer. In this answer to the welfare officer's short note, you can start that under rule 72 of the mines rules 1955, in every mine where 500 or more persons, remember these figures are very important for your answer. You must know that where 500 or more persons are ordinarily employed, a suitably qualified person shall be employed to act as a welfare officer under the mines rules 1955. Then you should mention about his duties. What the duties of welfare officer shall be: to maintain harmonious relations between management and workers, and ensure proper communication and do counseling, then invite attention of the management toward any individual or collective grievance of the workers, and ensure early redressal of the same. Then the welfare officer shall develop relationship between the management and the workers, so that workplace environment is harmonious and duly maintaining the productivity of the mine. Then the welfare officer shall also assist in formulation of works committee, joint production committee, cooperative society, etc. at the mine. Then the welfare officer shall also assist the management in ensuring proper system of earned leave with wages to the workers, and briefing the workers about their rights regarding earned leave, inform them about the system of application for grant of earned leave, etc. All these are the duties of the welfare officer. Then he shall also supervise the training and worker education program that are conducted. He shall take necessary steps to uplift the standard of living of the workers. That is also one of the duties of the welfare officers. And the welfare officer at the end of the year, of course it is a calendar year, January to December, at the end of the year he shall prepare a summary of welfare work carried out by him during the year and submit it to the chief inspector. At least this much you should be able to write in the short note for welfare officer. Then it was C. It was again very important topic, composition of safety committee. So you should be able to remember some of the rules, the numbers of the rules. Now, for example, the safety committee, it is given in rule 29T of the mines rules 1955 regarding formation of safety committee. So what it states: at every mine where 100 or more persons are ordinarily employed, the owner, agent or manager shall constitute a safety committee. So these figures, 100 in the case of safety committee, 500 in the case of welfare officer, you must learn by heart. Then for large mines, in the 9th safety conference, the 9th safety conference recommended that for large mines, safety subcommittees under the main safety committees may be formed. So this can also be mentioned in your answer. Then about the constitution of safety committee, you know, mine manager is the chairman. Then the chairman, who is the mine manager, the chairman shall nominate 5 officials or competent person as members of the safety committee. Then 5 persons shall also be nominated by the workers. then the safety officer shall act as the secretary of the safety committee, and where there is no safety officer, the senior most assistant manager next in rank to the mine manager shall act as the secretary of the safety committee. Then in if the chairman, if he feels necessary, he may co-opt any other official or competent person or worker for any particular safety committee meeting or meetings. That provision is also there. Now, what are the functions of the safety committee? The functions of the safety committee are to discuss and consider improvements suggested by the workmen's inspectors in their Form U reports. You know, the workmen inspectors are supposed to write their inspection reports in Form U. So those Form U's, weekly twice he is doing the inspection. So in a month there will be 8 reports. So those 8 reports need to be discussed in the safety committee meeting. Then in the safety committee meeting, safety issues before opening a new district, new mine, or some new section is being opened, so the safety aspect needs to be discussed in this. Then before introducing any new electrical or mechanical system or adopting any new mining method, the points, safety issues are to be discussed in a safety committee. That is one of the functions of the safety committee. Then the safety committee shall also prepare safety campaigns for the mine, because publicity and propaganda is one of the important areas which is very much significant for improvement in the safety standard in any mine. Then the code of practices are to be framed for each and every operation in the, so safety committee shall discuss the framed code of practices and may suggest any modifications, alterations, or whatever it feels right. So that is one of the functions. Then suggesting measures for improving safety standards, overall safety standards of the mine, that is also a function of the safety committee. Then another function of the safety committee is to discuss accident inquiry reports and comments on the suggested remedial measures to prevent reoccurrence. That is also one of the functions of the safety committee. Then safety campaigns are to be prepared based on the accident analysis and implement the preventive measures thereof. Then the safety committee is supposed to meet once at least in every 30 days, that is once in a month. And the Jitpur Court of Inquiry, they had suggested that it is advisable that the safety committee meeting should be held on a fixed day of the month, so the continuity remains and the members may not wait for the intimation of the meeting, and they can attend the meeting. Then the safety committee is supposed to suggest action plan on safety issues brought before the committee by any of the members. Then the safety committee should act as a platform to exchange ideas on occupational safety and health, and within 15 days the secretary of the safety committee is supposed to inform the committee about the action taken on the recommendations of the committee. So this way you can elaborately write about the safety committee, and it is a short note, and you can be sure of getting 4 or 4.5 marks. Then the last one was, fourth one was employment of women. Now employment of women, this is very significant from oral point of view also. In oral also the examiner may ask you what are the statutory provisions related to employment of women, because recently there has been a gazette notification issued by the Government of India. And according to that gazette notification, the section 46, which deals with the Mines Act 1952, the section 46 regarding employment of women has been accordingly amended. Now, women may be employed on the surface of a mine between 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. There are certain conditions. Now, this employment shall be subject to written consent of the concerned woman, and owner, agent, and manager shall ensure the occupational safety and health of the woman so employed. The employment of women shall be in accordance with the conditions of the standard operating procedures, and women shall be employed in a group of at least 3 in a shift. So these are some of the conditions which need to be mentioned, and in oral also this topic of employment of women is very significant. So thus, if you carefully study and carefully revise all the questions that were asked during the written examination. It will be highly beneficial. It will boost your confidence, and the examiner, if he asks you what questions you had left out or what questions you are opted out, so by way of this video lecture, you will be able to tell him, yes, I had opted it out, but after going home I studied about the probable answer, and now I got the answer and it is such and such. So you can tell him about that. So do read carefully about the written question paper and the answers as discussed in this video lecture.